That's mine right there. Yeah, I own you and you own me. I will kill everybody in here about your ass. Please understand that. Some days I'd be willing to trade my man for a really good what?
Pool boy.
A good what?
I'm sorry.
What did you just say?
3 days before she got married to Steve Harvey, we talked. And she told me, she said, Jimmy, she said, Jimmy, you know what, Steve, he's so much like my dad, you know?
Never seen them have anything that I ever wanted. If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird-faced wife.
Looks like Katt Williams may have been onto something when it comes to Marjorie Harvey. Some people online are now claiming that whatever arrangement she allegedly had with Steve Harvey may have finally run its course. According to several blogs, Marjorie and Steve could be heading toward trouble, and rumors have even started saying that she may have gotten involved with members of the staff, including a bodyguard and even a chef. While Steve has publicly shut down the cheating talk, Marjorie herself hasn't really said much, which many people find interesting since she's the one at the center of the accusations. But for people who already know Marjorie's history, these stories aren't exactly shocking. Critics have pointed out that she moved from one convicted drug figure to another, before eventually reconnecting with Steve and reportedly convincing him to fully embrace her children, while some fans believe his own biological kids slowly faded into the background. And according to the story that's often told, the way Marjorie and Steve first got together was pretty complicated. The two originally met back in 1990 at a comedy club, and Steve has often shared how he looked directly at her the first time they met and confidently told her that one day she would become his wife.
The first word I ever said to her was, I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna marry you one day. That's the first thing I said.
It may sound like a love story now, but Steve was still married to his first wife, Marcia, when he first met Marjorie. At the time, Marjorie reportedly wasn't interested in Steve while he was still struggling financially and later became involved with two well-known drug figures, Jim Townsend and Darnell Woods, with whom she had 3 children. Meanwhile, Marcia later accused Steve of cheating and abandoning the family, eventually taking him to court over unpaid support. Steve later married Mary Shackelford, but according to Mary, things changed once Marjorie came back into Steve's life after he became successful. Critics claim Marjorie influenced Steve to prioritize her children over his own, and Steve eventually adopted all 3 of her kids after marrying her in 2007. Mary also alleged that Steve quickly ended their marriage, pushed her aside, and moved on with Marjorie shortly afterward.
When I think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie, that was disturbing.
But according to Mary, things became even more painful when Steve allegedly turned their son Winton against her. She also claimed that Steve used both his fame and financial power to influence the legal system and eventually gain custody of Winton.
He took my Winton from me. He turned my son against me, had me evicted from our house, thrown out. All the businesses, all the money, the cars. At a moment when I was down and devastated, he maneuvered everything. He maneuvered he manipulated the courts, everything against me. He went to court and under oath said that on his own he had built this whole thing by himself. And I just sat at the table and cried. I cried through the whole thing, and I fell apart.
But according to Mary, the situation became even more disturbing after that. In a separate interview, she alleged that Steve regularly punished Winton harshly and treated him very badly while he was growing up. Mary claimed that when Winton was only 10 years old, Steve allegedly went too far physically after Winton lied about completing his homework. She said the incident reportedly happened while Winton was already living with Steve and Marjorie, and she was deeply upset after seeing marks on her son's body afterward. When asked whether Marjorie played any role in the situation, Mary admitted she couldn't say for sure, though many people believe there may have been more happening inside that household than the public ever realized.
Because what I think about
I think about, was he scared? Who was hitting him? Was it her? Was it him? Was he out of his clothes? Was he screaming? Because he couldn't have had clothes on for his back to get cut up like that. And even at what, 10?
Mary said that even today, she still blames herself for not being there to protect Winton when he needed her most. According to her, Steve and Marjorie allegedly made it extremely difficult for her to maintain a close relationship with her son.
Was he thinking about me? Was he calling to me in his head? And how can you shame a young man like that when they're going into their manhood to strip him down like that, and you just beat him till he bled? How do you take a belt and you wrap it around your hand with the buckle part hanging? You're beating him with that. So much so, I saw an impression of that buckle inside of his thigh to where it must have just wrapped around him like a whip.
According to reports, the situation was quickly pushed out of the spotlight, even though authorities were reportedly contacted about what happened to Winton. Police records allegedly stated that Winton told officers he struggled to use the bathroom for several days following the incident involving Steve. Still, critics believe Steve's fame and influence may have helped the matter disappear, since the case was eventually closed without any further action being taken. The whole situation also left many people questioning how Marjorie, as a mother, could allegedly witness something like that involving such a young child and remain silent. Mary later claimed that Marjorie was just as emotionally cold as Steve, and even accused her of helping damage Winton's relationship with his own mother from the very beginning. According to some claims, this may have also benefited Steve financially by reducing the amount of child support he would have needed to pay Mary.
I know that as a mother, if I was ever in a position to where I had to be in charge of somebody else's child, I definitely make sure they have a great relationship with that child. But I just don't see how Marjorie, in particular, can call herself a mother to her own children and deliberately try to sabotage my relationship with my son. I don't really get that, because personally, even if it was a vengeance vendetta thing, it's like, who did harm to who?
Recent reports claim Steve's biological children often felt overlooked, while most of the attention allegedly went to Marjorie's kids, especially Lori. An insider even told Radar Online that there has been tension inside the Harvey family for years, and that Marjorie is supposedly the one really in control behind the scenes. Now, with cheating rumors involving members of the staff starting to spread online, many fans are revisiting Katt Williams' comments on Club Shay Shay, where he suggested that some Hollywood relationships are more about image and control than real love.
I've never seen them have anything that I ever wanted. If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird-faced wife that never do an interview. Listen, in 20 years won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and that she's never been interviewed anywhere. And now, understand, I'm not talking about one person. What I just told you applies to 7 people.
Katt Williams also pointed out that Steve left his first wife for Marjorie, yet today he often tells the story as if Marjorie was the woman who stayed by his side before the fame and success ever came.
Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that? You told us it was her, then you went and married somebody else that think like a man. Like, what are you talking about? They think they can rewrite history.
Now here's the bigger question. Whether the cheating rumors surrounding Marjorie are true or not, a lot of people online have started viewing her as one of the most controversial wives in Hollywood. Critics point out that despite the glamorous image and luxury lifestyle, she still became involved with Steve while he was married, and Steve eventually walked away from multiple relationships before settling down with her. There have also been long-running rumors tied to her past connections and lifestyle choices. That's why many viewers find it strange seeing Steve and Marjorie publicly giving relationship advice while so many stories continue circulating around them. But now I want to know what you think. Do you believe Mary's claims that Marjorie has been controlling things behind the scenes all these years? And what about the recent cheating rumors? Do you think there's any truth to the stories involving members of the staff? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to stay tuned for the next video.